Hello and welcome back. Today I thought we could do a bit of a deep dive into what I consider to be my best purchases from the last couple of years. And the reason why I decided to do the last 2 years rather than of all time is because I noticed when I was reviewing my most worn and my index app that a lot of those things were actually slightly newer purchases. And I think part of this just has to do with that natural evolution of style and also just how we tend to gravitate towards things in our wardrobes. Each of these things plays a specific role in my wardrobe, so I'm going to talk through that and why it has been such a worthwhile purchase for me. And I will be sure to drop everything down in the description box below in case you would like to go and check anything out. The first thing I want to talk about is denim, and in particular just that real shift away from the skinny jean, which was my uniform for about 2 decades. Now I'm really considering the different shapes and silhouettes I'm bringing into my wardrobe, and I think that this just gives you so much more range, so much more variation when you're getting dressed, rather than opting for one silhouette and then multiple colors in that same style. What that does is it actually gives you a uniform. So I have a few different favorite styles at the moment, one of them being the kind of wide leg jean. The ones that I'm wearing right now are from Alpha 60, and their denim quality is really beautiful. It's 100% cotton. It does run a little on the large side, so I wear an extra small even though I'm a typical Australian size 8 or size 26 in jeans, but they are so comfortable and the style just goes with absolutely everything because it is a wider leg jean. I will say if you want something more affordable, the H&M ones, which I bought, I want to say in the last 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, those are amazing and I was very tempted to mention them in this video, but I'm just going to do a little shout out instead. My other favorites have to be a good kind of straight leg, something that is not a slim straight but actually has a bit more width through it. I really like the Valentina jeans from Henny. I just think that they have kind of nailed the quality. They are such a robust, sturdy denim. The denim sizing does differ slightly between washes. I have the blue wash in the 26 and I have the white in the 25. I found that they were a little bit more generous, but almost in a 25.5 kind of a way. The other jeans that I wanted to highlight, and I mean, if you have been watching my videos for many years, you'll know how much I love Everlane denim, and I have their curve jean. These are the way high style. One, fabulous if you have a longer torso because you're going to get that great ratio in terms of your proportions, but also the fit of these barrel leg jeans is so cool, and I love that this is a great way to play around with the proportion, but also an incredibly flattering silhouette for those who do tend to carry a little bit more weight across their bum and thighs. These are very comfortable and they've got a little bit of stretch to them too, which I like. Love that little bit of give, especially when you are kind of getting up, getting down, crutching, if you've got young children. It's a good way to play around with fashion silhouettes while still maintaining that comfort factor. Something I have really noticed myself leaning on as it is winter here in Australia is kind of this element of the interesting jacket, something that has a really cool silhouette or has a bit of ease to it, or maybe it's just a really striking sort of a design. And there are two in particular that I adore, and what's interesting is that they're both shorter jackets, but they fall below my hip. So they create a really seamless silhouette and allow the lines of the outfit to flow so beautifully. And this is just something I've noticed with my own personal proportions. So your ideal jacket may look incredibly different, but the one that I've been getting asked a lot about, and this is definitely one of my favorite 2025 purchases. So not just one of my best purchases, but a favorite. I think when you have that real excitement about an item and you just want to throw it on with everything, then you know you've made the right choice. This is from Camilla and Mark, and I will say this was a rather expensive purchase, but I had been coveting it for such a long time. When I finally did try it on, I was so tempted to take it to the checkout then and there, but I went home, I thought about it for another kind of 3 to 4 weeks before I finally added it to cart and purchased it. What I love about this is that the belt can be worn not just along the hemline at the bottom of the jacket, but also at the waist. So you can really switch it up and it almost feels like 2 jackets in one. I did recently spy that there were a couple of sizes left, 20% off, so you might be able to get a good deal on that one, but they did a very similar one in a plaid check. Then the other one is from Marl, and I bought this last year. Marl typically tend to reimagine their designs and give them a new name. So this style now has a belt at the waist, which I think makes it, again, even more versatile because you can wear it belted or you can wear it loose. It's essentially a shacket or kind of like a painter's jacket, I suppose. I really love that kind of artistic quality to it. It has the big patch pockets. It also has that high contrast component with the buttons, which have a really raw, organic texture to them. It doesn't feel too done up. It just feels quite casual, quite relaxed. And I think in part when I am considering my outerwear, I often want to reflect those sorts of qualities, almost as if I will inhabit those qualities myself just by wearing the clothing. And I think that's just the power of getting dressed, how clothing can really make you feel a certain way. And clothes cognition is incredibly fascinating. I'm realizing this is a little bit winter leaning, but I do want to talk about a winter accessory, and that is a really solid pair of boots. I bought these ones from Beaded last year. They're the Nightingale, and they're in a beautiful kind of Bordeaux, rich burgundy brown hue. I just find it so striking. The block heel makes them really comfortable to wear. And while I will say sometimes at the end of the day, I want to rip them off my feet, it's not that they're uncomfortable, but it's just that my feet are ready to get out of a pair of boots. Overall, I really enjoy wearing these, and I don't think twice if I'm going to have a busy day of walking, choosing to put these on. My only caveat with this particular boot is that the leather is reasonably stiff, especially around the calf. So if you have thicker calves, you may find that these fit a little bit on the tight side. I got them in an EU40, so they do definitely fit true to size, but Beard have so many beautiful boots, and the whole kind of concept behind all their shoes is comfort. They're podiatrist designed, but they don't look like it. Based off of my success with the Beard boots, I ended up deciding to splurge on the St. Agni cylinder boots this year. These have a slightly lower heel, but it has this really beautiful curvature to it, which I think adds a softness and really helps to mimic that kind of sock booty style. These are incredibly beyond comfortable. You do not need to break these in at all. They really do fit like a glove. And while I feel like the leather on these is a lot more delicate than the leather on the Beard boots, I'm a bit more mindful with these, but not in a way that I'm precious when I'm walking around. I mean, it's hard when you're wearing these and you've got young kids and they stand on your feet, but they're holding up so well. And these actually I could wear all day, right up until I go to bed. So they are brilliant. And I believe they're on sale too. And what I've kind of learned from these two is that I love a little bit of height. I like a boot that has a high shaft so that I don't have cold ankles. I don't know if this is because I'm getting older, but I recently wore a cropped pant and I had my ankles showing. Normally this would never have bothered me, but all I could think about all day was how cold my ankles were. So that's part of the reason why I've gravitated towards a boot like this so much. And just something that's in a really kind of nice neutral that will go with absolutely everything, and you kind of can't go wrong with either of these options. This is a newer thing, but the mock neck top, I find that a proper roll neck, turtleneck, something that comes really high up, often feels a little bit suffocating, like there's just a little bit too much fabric around my face. Whereas just that little hint of coverage along the clavicle, I really like that. It feels really chic, really intentional, and in the past 6 months, I've actually added 3 to my wardrobe. So I think that really demonstrates what a key basic this is for my wardrobe, but it's also kind of been building on from what I've worn as a core staple over previous years. So I really love the Cos and Arquette fine merino knits. They have a really slim fit, though if you want something a bit more relaxed, you can size up, and they are such a core part of my wardrobe. I have them in the wash every single week, as I find they're a good base piece. They layer well, but they are so strong as a top option on its own. So the 3 that I have here, we've got one from Basic, which is an Australian brand, and this is an organic cotton, has kind of a raw edge, sort of a trim to it. It is ever so slightly sheer, which you can see here, and I quite like that. It sort of allows you to play around with these peekaboo elements in your outfits, and definitely how I really like to do sheer, and it's just very, very comfortable. I'm also partial to a twisted seam, which this has. This is more of a relaxed fit, so it slightly differs from the other 2 that I have, one being from Everlane. So this is one of their luxe rib tops. I have the sleeveless version of this, which I bought in the summertime, and I have loved wearing that so much that I decided to go ahead and get the long sleeve for winter. And again, it's just a really good, easy basic. The fabrication is so lovely to wear, and it has this subtle texture to it being in a rib. They do have a few different colors in this. I just think that the navy, this kind of inky navy, they've done it so well. It doesn't feel too blue. The final one I have is merino. So they kind of run the spectrum there, because that first one is cotton. This one here, it's not going to look like much on the hanger because I've got it folded over, but it's from Henny. This is their Talia merino wool skivvy, and they do some really beautiful 100% natural fiber essentials like this. It washes so well, and it's got a really beautiful fluffy quality to it. This is 100% opaque, so it kind of differs from the ones that I have from COS and Arquette. It's quite a cool tone charcoal, really deep in color as well, in case you're curious and that's something you're conscious of when you are shopping around. One thing I've really noticed about myself is I love an unassuming bag, something that is really functional, but it doesn't scream like it's a designer bag. It doesn't have any visible logos. And my most worn bags from the past couple of years, the ones that I'm most excited about wearing have set me back less than $300, and they're 100% leather. So that kind of tells me everything that I need to know. It really has been such a valuable insight and really steered me away from that kind of luxury bag mindset that I feel like I was in when I was in my mid-20s and really kind of starting to build up my bag collection. My two favorites, my two ultimate 100% ride or die favorite purchases are, I'm sure you guessed it, Madewell Bucket Tote, number one. This is such a beautiful hobo style bag, fits a laptop, adjustable strap that can be worn crossbody. It is so minimal, clean in design, but then it has that lovely slouchiness to it that kind of feels very comfortable and ages beautifully. I also just like that contrast of the buckle too on the side. This is great. My travel bag, kids bag, everything. And I'm sure you guessed my other favorite, the Quince Patchwork Crossbody. This is essentially an affordable alternative to the puzzle bag from Loewe, but I am just so delighted by this. The quality of the leather is stunning. It's held up so well so far. It does have a crossbody strap too, but a stunning, stunning bag, and one that I reach for pretty much every single week. I want to talk about the tailored trouser, as for me, these really are just one of the best items you can add into your wardrobe, especially when you've bought the right pair, because you could be incredibly comfortable in a pair of tailored trousers, but the very perception of a tailored trouser adds instant polish to your outfit, no matter what you have paired it with. I would say probably my favorite ever pant purchase are the round trousers in cotton from Facade Pattern. So I have these in black too, and then I do have the slightly longer version, which is kind of floor length on me in a light beige. I got these in a size small, and I would say stick with your usual size. They have some really good measurements on the website if you are considering these. And the white pair I did have to get taken down because they were ever so slightly shorter than the black ones. A reminder that clothing is made by hand, so you may get minor variations from item to item depending on how it was sewn and cut and put together. But yeah, these are a stunning pant. You can put them in the washing machine, which I adore. I mean, I love easy care, low maintenance clothing. That's kind of a huge element about what I'm bringing into my closet. And these have such a great structure to them that they instantly lift any outfit. The other pair I have are from Dish, and I have a few pairs of their tailored trousers. I find that they aren't too tight at the waist, so I'll usually belt them, and that again adds a little bit more refinement, a little bit more elegance to my outfit, even if I'm just wearing them with a sandal or with a pair of sneakers. And they drape so beautifully. They're quite kind of flowy, so they move with your body, and these are polyester, but they wash so well, and a really carefree option if you are looking for something that is reasonably priced, that holds up well even in the washing machine. I haven't had any pilling on this pair. These are the Celine trousers, but yeah, I've got the chocolate ones too. They're just great. I can't stop saying enough good things. And it's a reminder also that sometimes you do make accommodations, allowances for your lifestyle, because your clothing needs to work for you, not the other way around. Okay, the fun shoe. I've been talking a lot about contrast recently, and one of my favorite ways to bring it into an outfit is through the use of accessories, and more specifically a shoe. These ones are from Malini. These are very similar to a pair from Totem, which are much more highly priced. I don't know about access to these from outside of Australia. I'll see if I can find some other alternatives, but these are brilliant, and they're pony hair. I mean, they're comfortable, they're great, and they add an instant wow factor to an outfit. And so I've really been leaning on these quite a lot, especially when I'm wearing an all neutral look. But a reminder that fun and quirky doesn't necessarily have to relate to the actual color or the print of the shoe or accessory. So I have these little tabby ballerina flats, which I know are going to be so divisive. I mean, I had to, right? But These are great because they have this sort of unusual quality to them. They're a little bit different, a bit unexpected, really comfortable, though I do think you need to go up a half size in these shoes because my toes are kissing the leather at the top of the foot, but really, really comfortable. And another pair I would also mention are my Tory Burch Pierce Mules, which I think they come in so many colors now. They do different sandals in them. I mean, that is just such a cool line. Very unexpected for Tory Burch, though they do give me blisters, so I don't wear them as much as I would otherwise. Though they add an instant wow factor again, like I was saying with the other shoes, to an outfit. These feel a little bit more subtle, but once you kind of notice them, you can't look away. This video is starting to feel like a love letter to where I think you should focus your wardrobe budget, especially when I think about this next piece, which is a really lovely cashmere sweater. And I don't think that it's necessarily the fact that these sweaters I'm going to mention are cashmere, but more so that they just feel really luxurious to wear. They feel lovely to wear. I wouldn't hesitate for a second to throw either of these on, and they're both more kind of in that affordable realm. So I'll start with this one here first. It's from Quince, and this is their cashmere oversized boyfriend sweater. This I have in 4 colors. I really love it. I think I bought my first one back in December 2023 when I was looking back through that charcoal one. It is a nice weight. It's not too thick. You know, I mean, you can see here the ivory has a slight sheer quality to it. It is so plush. I mean, yes, it will pill, but that's what you need a sweater rake for. And I talk about this a lot. Wardrobe maintenance, it is something that you should expect, not something that you should hope will never happen. Because when we wear our clothes, they start to need a little bit of our support in order to continue looking nice. But it's just a really good fit. It is so comfortable. And this is kind of the same quality between the two that I want to mention. It is so comfortable to wear. It feels like wearing a big hug. And yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with everything. The lighter texture means it's easy to tuck into things. And I have opted for neutral, so very easy to style back with brights as well. So it kind of becomes more of an accompaniment, a supporting actor in your outfit. The other one I have here, which you'll see in the cutaway, is from COS, and this is the sweater that everyone told me to go and buy instead of the Rose Ophelia sweater. So I tried on the grey one and it was not right. I will link my Substack newsletter where I kind of talked about all of the ones that I tried on and why that was not the perfect one for me. But in the black, and I also have it in green, I adore it. It's so plush. It's just really nice to wear. It's very oversized again. So kind of leaning into that layer of ease, that chilled, relaxed quality I perhaps want to kind of emanate from myself. Or maybe it's the fact that my mind is so busy that I'm trying to balance that out with the way that I dress and visually express myself. I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to find an explanation, but it's a lovely sweater. It does pill quite considerably from the first wear. And I do just want to point that out because if maintenance is something that you're always thinking about, then you are going to need to come armed with some sort of a cashmere comb or sweater rake. So let's just talk about my final favorite addition to my closet. And I really don't know how well you're going to be able to see this from that far away, but it is essentially a statement necklace. This one here is from By Alon, and it is a glass necklace on a suede rope strap. I have to admit, I am surprised by how robust this is. I've dropped it on the ground countless times at this point. I've knocked it against things, and there is not a single scratch, crack. Obviously, that's something I would advise against doing. You want to avoid that as much as possible, but I guess it's just made me really impressed because I would have expected some sort of scratching or similar given the level of wear and tear that this has endured. And actually, just as a side note, when you are considering people's reviews and how that might reflect your own experience with a clothing piece, reflect also on how they are using it, how rough or how kind of precious they are with the item, because that is going to reflect back how it wears and tears over an extended period of time. What I love about this is that it just adds a bit more weight to an outfit. It helps to break things up and bring in a sense of contrast, especially when I am wearing a lot of neutrals. It brings in a bit of an organic quality to my outfits. And I think visually it's just something interesting to look at. I have a few other ones here. You'll have seen me mention this one from Front Row Shop a few times, which is a little leather coin purse essentially. This is the only item I'm talking about which I didn't buy with my own money, but I did just want want to highlight it is I've seen a lot of people wearing this, and it's just a fun little way to bring that sculptural quality into your outfits. I feel like these necklaces are on the same page, but just add something slightly different. But we have the Cezanne Danae necklace. So this is a resin beaded necklace. They do them in so many different colors, which I think are all stunning and usually quite interesting. A great way to kind of bring that warmth or just that little pop into an outfit, instantly drawing the eye. I really love this kind of coffee color. And then I also have a black beaded one. This is an onyx, and that's just from COS. So you really don't need to spend a lot. I feel like a lot of Etsy sellers are doing these sorts of necklaces at the moment, so I'll try and find something similar to drop down below. But again, they just kind of add this lovely sculptural quality around the neck and are something that can break up an outfit or add in that element of contrast, especially if you are pairing them with a soft fuzzy knit. So that kind of wraps up what I consider to be my best purchases of the last couple of years that really reflect back my style and the qualities that I'm looking for in my clothing. I have to apologize if you can hear the wind or you've been able to hear banging. It is so gusty in Sydney today. In this edit, I really wanted to make a point of highlighting items that I've purchased with my own money rather than things that were given to me, as I think no matter how unbiased you try to be, you're always going to treat clothing that you were given differently to ones that you have bought yourself. And actually, if you were gifted something at Christmas, maybe you might cherish it even more than something you spend your own money on. But I am cognizant of that. So I hope that you found this really kind of interesting, even just having a general chat and review about some of the things that I have worn a lot. So I now have seen the wear and tear on them, and I have a really good sense of what has been a worthwhile purchase and maybe what hasn't. Which actually, to that point, if you'd like to see a sister video to this where I talk through what have been my worst types of purchases over the last 2 years, let me know and maybe I can film that one for next week. Thank you so much for spending some of your day with me. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I share brand reviews, style advice, and how to make the most out of your wardrobe. Do like the video if you did enjoy it too, as it always helps with the algorithm, and I will see you next time with a brand new one. Thank you so much for watching, and see you soon. Bye.